then I.
Good evening to all.
Can you pass the mic?
Which mic?
The big one.
Oh. Sure.
Because we're gonna talk quiet, and then I don't know if it's gonna be loud enough.
I'm gonna take turns passing it.
No,
talk.
no, it's not necessary.
So, what are your take on it? No.
Okay, this is a Decade of Difference, podcast 6, I think. Right.
Okay, let's just get right into it. It's going to be a quick one today.
We always say that.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, it's been. How was your week? How has your week been?
It's been okay.
Just okay.
I finished my course, so that's good.
She's always in school. Always doing a course.
One more course to go.
So she says.
No, and then my dissertation.
And for those out there that don't know what that means.
What do you mean?
What's a dissertation?
It's basically a mini book.
Hi, Dee.
You have to write. You have to pick a topic, and then you have to write on the topic, and it's like serious chapters. So it's probably like 12 chapters to defend your thesis.
What's a thesis?
An argument to what you're trying to prove. And it's funny, maybe this is a good segue, because back in the day, I wanted to do my thesis on, because I'm getting my doctorate in education, and at that time it was a hot topic, which was like 10 years ago. And I was going to do my my dissertation on bullying. And I felt like, okay, well, is it going to still, because that was then, 10 years ago, it was like there was anti-bullying campaigns.
Still is.
And so it's the irony that you would ask me that today when I'm like, oh yeah, now I can actually still do it on bullying because it's a hot topic. Hi, Danielle.
So yeah, we decided that we were going to talk about a serious topic. Like you said, 10 years ago, it was serious. It hasn't changed much now that my children are going through the system. Decided to do this because I'm finding, especially in my own experience, that children that are younger now, you're hearing more common situations and cases of these young kids taking their lives and committing suicide because of bullying at school, online, social media, cyberbullying, all these things that are happening. You said 10 years ago it was pretty serious, and I feel like now, even in this day and age, it could be even more so because of the social media and the online presence that these kids are exposed to that we didn't have in our day. I know that when we were going through the system or the school system when we were younger, bullying was a thing, but it was in a different capacity.
Mine will be scattered because I went to 2 years primary school in Trinidad, and so different. It was a British system, so different. They had no tolerance for that. And of course, then I went to Holy Name Convent after that when I was 11, because you start high school at 11. And so it was an all girls run by nuns school. So fortunately, we didn't have to deal with issues like that. Mm-hmm. And then when I came here in grade 11, there was no.
You're already older.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I fortunately did not get anything like that or experience anything like that as well, because I had older siblings that I feel as though kind of paved the way for me.
Let's be honest, obviously you did experience mean kids.
Oh yeah, that's a given. I think that's just part of being a child. I think that's part of the child experience, whether
which it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but it's human. Kids are, let's keep it real. Kids are mean. And people will make fun of children. Well, kids will make fun of other kids for simple things, just for, names, what you were named as a child, or not as a child, but what your parents gave you.
Or if you look different, or
right. Yeah. If you have a disability, the clothes you wear, let's keep it real. Kids are cruel. I remember definitely you know, the faces in grade school, elementary school, high school of the people that were, you know, known to be bullies. But again, I've always had a pretty strong personality, so I didn't have a problem sticking up for myself, and I didn't have a problem kind of with my smart mouth, kind of with the you know, the pushback. If somebody tried to come for me, I would come back for them. So I never really had an issue like that. But I'm finding with this day and age, especially these cases that you're hearing about, these kids are young. Like they're...
Well, that boy in Hamilton that got stabbed in front of his mom, and he went through the proper channels of saying, like, this was happening. He went to administrators. He went to, you know, and it still happened.
He was, what, 12?
No, 14. He was in grade 9.
Okay. And another case, I don't want to start naming names because, first of all, there was a few names that I wasn't sure of the pronunciation, and I don't want to be disrespectful in any, you know, capacity. But there was something that happened 2 weeks ago where you had sent me the link. It was an Indian family who had just... The mother was a single mom. She brought her child over from India to give him a better life here in Canada, better schooling system, and, you know, better living situation. And this kid was 9, and he was getting bullied in school, and took the proper precautions, spoke to his mom, spoke to the principal, spoke to the teachers, and nothing really was done about it. And unfortunately, she came home and found him deceased. He had taken his life. He hung himself at 9 years old in his closet, left a suicide note, and explained, like, listen, you know, I just can't take it anymore, and I've spoken to people and nobody's doing anything about it, and I can't handle it. And she was devastated, rightfully so. 9 years old. Like, my children are around these ages, and it's just very concerning at this point, because I feel as though, you know, it's just getting younger and younger. We don't have the means of protecting these children the way we once did when we were younger, because of, I feel, the cyber bullying, the online presence that these guys are experiencing, exposed to with these games and these things that they're doing on their tablets. These predators that are out there that really just...
I think it's also because there was I forwarded you that link about, it's called Social Animals. I think it's a documentary on Netflix, and it was talking about how much stock the younger generation is putting into social media, like the likes, and which is why even Instagram, if you've noticed, doesn't even track how many likes.
Yeah, they took that feature away.
Because of people were killing themselves over not having it, like losing followers and losing likes on their pictures,
right? And
being cyberbullied, like, under their pictures, you know. So, like, it's a real thing, and, you know, it's we always, you know, that saying, do it for the gram, like, everything has to be documented, and it's like this pressure to live this cyber life. Yeah, nobody's telling the truth about what's really happening in their life. They're just portraying, oh, everything's great all the time. So, you know,
yeah, it's almost like a popularity contest for this generation, and it's very scary. As a parent, obviously, you know, I know I'm not alone in my sentiments. We can't be with our children 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unfortunately. You know, whether we send them to school and we're trusting the education system to protect them and to monitor them and to, you know, supervise them, which is all fine and everything. Sometimes, you know, we're finding that isn't even happening. But then they come home and, you know, you can't lock them in a bubble for the rest of their lives. So, of course, you want to give them screen time. You want to give them tablet time. And unless you're really monitoring them or, you know, looking at their history or kind of looking over their shoulder and asking to see the screen, you just sometimes don't know who they're interacting with and what is being said to them and what accounts that they're developing. Like, they're much smarter than we give them credit for. You know, I mean, I come from a generation where we were just going into the online stuff, like in high school. Like, the internet was just becoming this thing. cell phones and online everything, like all these apps that wasn't around in my day. So it's almost like, I'm learning now as I go. And when I'm confused about certain IT things, I go to my 7-year-old, I go to my 9-year-old or my 10-year-old, and they're like, oh yeah, mommy, I got this. And they'll show me, and they're like in grade 3, grade 5, so it's really scary, the pace in terms of how fast this is going. And it's just very difficult to monitor what they're being exposed to and who is out there and targeting children, and the bullying and everything else. So I just wanted to...
Steve is saying Aaliyah, his daughter, is addicted to the phone, and it's becoming quite concerning.
Yes
because you don't know what they're doing.
You don't. And
if someone's bullying them, you don't know.
And some kids are vocal, which is great because they'll keep you in the loop. But other kids suppress things and they push things down, or they get very quiet, and they don't have the tools to figure out how to deal with cyberbullying, or how, why certain things are being said, or, kids can be very mean. And it's scary to think, at the pace that it's going, it's like, I don't know how to process all of this, or how to make them that much more aware of the dangers. They're so innocent and they trust in people, which of course, as we get older and we go through life, we experience things, so we obviously know how to make adjustments. But when they're this age, it's like they're so innocent, and it's like it just takes a couple of bad apples to really kind of plant some seeds that are not so healthy, and all of a sudden you see a very different side of your child. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to bring awareness to this because, again,
it's not going away. It seems like it's just getting worse.
Yeah.
And like the Hamilton teen that was stabbed to death, that was very alarming.
Horrible.
Yeah, like his mother, like right in front of his mom. Not like, I couldn't imagine that happening. And the fact that he said something, like it's not like he kept it secret, and that, fellow students would think that this was appropriate behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very warped time that we're living in. I was speaking to my hubby about this as well, because we're the type of parents that we've enforced that throughout the week the kids don't get screen time. So when it comes to Friday after school, they're frothing at the mouth like, ooh, tablet time, because they know, when it comes to the weekend, we allow, okay, you can get on there, you can play your games, you can have screen time, get on your phone, get on the tablet, get on the iPad. Throughout the week, it's homework and it's school and it's, you're not touching it. So we're not sitting right beside them 24/7.
Yeah, like Jalen wasn't allowed to play, like, because now he's not a social animal, so that wasn't an issue. It was more so the PS4 and the PS3 at that time, and it's who are you interacting with,
right?
And even now, I don't care. I'll find out, like, who are you playing with, and then he'll say so and so said hi. I don't know who so and so is. Like, who's so and so? Like, because remember, they're hearing me too. Like, it's all, they're in your house, mm-hmm. even though they're not physically in your house. So it's just like being very aware, no matter how old a person is. Who are they associating with? Who are they playing with? Do you know all the people that are involved? Because the world is smaller now. The world is in your house.
Yes.
And it's who are you inviting in, and do you know who you're inviting in? Right?
And the games that they're choosing to play, like Fortnite and all these...
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, like these games that
Black Ops.
Sometimes when I sit down and I watch what they're actually playing, I'm like, what kind of nonsense is this? Like,
it's violent, killing, because it's becoming, when you become immune and desensitized to things, right? That's why people are like stabbing, like this is the violence. We're becoming so, and then you're immune to it. So it's not you. I'm horrified, but you're not, because you're playing this game and you get into that zone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's like being brainwashed.
Without really knowing, like it's like a subconscious thing, because this is what you're constantly taking in and looking at and playing, and it's
like, and I'm getting back to that because I'm thinking, okay, violence is violent as it is, and back in the day, I guess it was fist, it was, you would fight with your fists, and that was violent enough, but now it's weapons, and to stab somebody, that takes a lot, like you have to be completely,
and it's
that's
rage.
Personal.
It's rage.
That's very personal, and yeah.
And well, and there's a lot of shootings, because it's not uncommon now to hear there's just so many shootings happening, and
this is how we're solving issues. I'm mad, so I'm going to shoot you.
I mean, we haven't caught up to the States, thank God, but we're not far behind. I mean, the amount of times that, you're hearing this on the news, it's almost every day, if not every other day, and there's just so many families grieving, and moms that have lost their children to gun violence, and innocent people, and it's madness. It really is.
Well, they are saying they're attributing, like, okay, typically if there's a child that's bullying, it's because he comes from a parent that's bullying. Like it's there's a psychology behind it that, a child just doesn't become a bully. Mm-hmm. He's learning that behavior from somewhere. Yeah. And or he's being angered, or something is happening in the house or in his household where this is his defense mechanism, and this is how he chooses to act, or he or she. I can't just keep saying he like that, it's not gender specific. And so, it's probably looking, and this is probably why it's hard for the education system to control it, because the child is coming from somewhere else.
Right. And it has to start at home. I mean, the parents have to take accountability for what your child's doing. So I know for us, like, we have a zero tolerance when it comes to bullying. Like, we've already directed and really guided our children to know that you don't instigate anything, but if anybody should come for you, like, you have our permission, hands down, to defend yourself in every aspect. However, we're also we're just as passionate when it comes to educating our children not to be the bullies. So if we find out that you're going to school and you're being a bully to somebody else, that's just as bad, if not worse. So, if we just had more parents jumping on board, and
Steve's also saying drugs are also on the rise with teens. So there's a lot of unhappy teens out there. Right? So there's a lot of elements involved. Mm-hmm. There's access to drugs.
Yeah.
There's the legalization of drugs.
Yes.
And, now where there's less control of it, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of facets, a lot of layers to trying to figure out how to really.
It's just very, very, it is very sad to hear someone taking their own life because someone else feels that they're making them feel less than, like that's very, very sad to me. And
the ages, it's like
9
years old.
You're killing yourself.
10 years old. Like, that's heartbreaking, it's like you said, we are becoming so desensitized that when we hear these cases, it's sad. We're sad for a few minutes, and then we just move right on.
Next.
Like, it's,
But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Like, I go back to that case in Hamilton. This kid was in grade 9. He just started grade 9 because this happened early October. And so right from the get-go, you're being bullied. And you're telling people, you're going through you're not fighting back. You're told your parents told the principal, your parents told the police, and you still
nothing's being done.
Nothing happens
until where you can't even go to school and feel protected or safe.
And then he had to die. And I hope something now is being done. But what's being done?
Yeah. And these are cases where the children are actually stepping forward and saying something.
There's so
doing
many
the right
that
thing. Don't say anything. So many of them suppress what's happening and don't feel that they have a vessel to be able to even come out and explain.
So think about that. So what are you perpetuating? Oh, don't snitch, 'cause right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough.
It's like negative reinforcement, because now it's like, oh, well, see what happens when you do come forward and you tell somebody, you die.
Yeah, it's not an easy time. So just wanted to bring awareness to that, and hug your little people.
But remember, we can't just this is not it's not, the demographic is not just teens or young. Like, that's the worst thing. This is now spanning. It's the social media.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
age
it's
doesn't
spanning.
discriminate.
Yeah, like this, you could be in your 20s still being cyberbullied. Like,
well, look at, like, even just the celebrities that have been taking their lives as of late, like
who?
Anthony Bourdain and Kate.
But that's depression.
Whatever the case may be, suicide is suicide. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter in terms of age or status or how much money you have. It's proven that there's no discrimination when it comes to this. People are feeling pain all over the place.
Right. But I'm just thinking, I think we're just focusing on being bullied into suicide. Like, I think, but you're right, that probably, of course, creates depression, which is why people kill themselves at the end of the day. But then some bullies are saying that, why don't you kill yourself?
That's exactly what they're saying. Go kill yourself. And some of these kids are like, okay.
Yeah.
Or they're not strong enough to really have that willpower to fight back, or to say, or to speak to an adult and get the help that they need. It's very scary, alarming, unfortunate. It's all of those things.
And we have to stop being reactive. Like, I don't understand. This is the part I don't get. Like, we know it's happening and it keeps happening. So what's the solution?
That's true, Steve. Snitches get stitches. The worst thing you can be in high school is a rat.
Yeah, because then that's it. Game over.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have words. I'm fortunate to say that I did not go through that. But my heart it feels for those kids that don't have that feeling of wanting to go to school,
okay,
and
let's
being
put it
safe in a safe
perspective.
environment.
What if Lele came and said she was being bullied?
Oh, listen, I don't even want to talk about my children. Because a different demon comes out of me, so let's keep it very clean.
No, but honestly,
I'm being straight. I don't want to talk about my kids when it comes to that, because I don't tolerate it. And
well, so then how would you? I
get involved. It would be me getting involved with that child, the child's parents, the police. Like, I'm going to wait for the school system to figure it out. We don't have time for that. I'm not, like, my kids are not the ones to be targeted. So I'm a different type of beast when it comes to this. I don't play by the rules. I don't play clean. It's very different for me. I can't sit back and wait for the system to figure it out. No, the system has failed so many times, and I don't have trust in the system when it comes to my own kids. So no, I would have to jump on that. And their dad is even worse than me. So, we're taking a trip the next day. We're getting that child in a same room with my child. We're talking it out. We're figuring it out. We're talking to the principal. We're getting the child's parents involved. Like, this is happening the next day. I'm not waiting.
Well, that's why, like, these are like solution focused, right? So we know there's an issue. So these are some best practices of.
And I will be at that school every day, and I will pick up my child every day, and I will look at that other child that's bullying my kid, and I will be there, present, so that the kid knows. Like,
Steve said him too. If someone bullied his kid, he's fighting a grade 11 person. He doesn't care.
I don't either. I don't business. I don't tolerate a second of that.
Because we say these things, but like, you really do have to personalize it to figure out what would you do in that situation.
I'm there.
Okay.
1,000%.
Yeah, me too. I'm there. I'm there, and I want to talk to the parents, the kid. Like, everyone's involved. We need to talk it out and figure this out.
And you always have a sense of how it's going to go by speaking to the kid's parents. If it's parents, once you talk to the child's parents and you realize that it's the type of personality that's similar to your own, where you can see that the parent is obviously bothered of the child's, behavior and is proactive and wanting to get, this eradicated and everything. Or you get those parents that are like, oh, well, not my kid. And there's nothing like laid back or whatever, just ghetto type of mentality where it's like, oh, never my kid. My kid's perfect. Or you just kind of have a sense of what you're dealing with when you actually do interact with the other family. Whether we're going to work together or whether we're not, I just know it's not going to continue happening. So we can do this cordially as adults, or we can do this. Like, we can do this, but your child will not be targeting mine. That's what I know.
At the end result,
this is what's happening. Yes, that's what I know. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of parents that feel that the system will protect their kid. I'm not one of those parents. So I'm not waiting around for police. I'm not waiting around for principals.
Because we just finished going through the average child. Like, we don't know. Like, everybody's household is different, clearly, right? So they have different rules. They have different ways of raising their children, And a lot of the time, PlayStation and the internet's raising your children. Right. And Netflix is raising your children. So whatever they're seeing, they're personifying it at school. And this is where the issue has. Like, you need to know what your kids are doing. You need to check in. I don't care. Jalen is 19? I'm telling you. If he comes home, hey, who you playing? Who's on? Who's online? They can hear me. They know. I'm going to ask. There's no secrecy.
No.
You can have secrecy in your own house.
No, I agree. It's not even to be played with, you just have to be so careful. And these are with children that are vocal, that will inform you. What about those children that are so shy and that are so quiet
or scared? How about if they're scared? Because when you're bullied, right, you're going to be fearful. If you tell your parents, there's consequences. Mm-hmm. So what about that? Those are the people that will take their lives in a closet.
Yes. Yep.
Right? And then it's too late to get involved at that time.
Or, those are the people that once they actually do tell you, you don't know that this has actually been happening for months.
And then there's a reprisal now for telling you, you want to tell on me? Okay. Mm-hmm. See, it's a catch-22. What does the kid do? What if that's the same situation? Your child came forward. I think the parents did get involved. Like, they got the police involved. Like, it wasn't just like, okay, so what do you do then?
Well, I know what I'm doing. But it's a good question.
No, but seriously, what do you do then? What if this is your kid that you went through the proper channels, you did what you said, you got the parents involved, you thought it was taken care of, and then now your kid, God forbid, can't handle it. This is serious. This is a serious topic.
It's extremely unfortunate that we live in a time where this is so...
Well, like we said, as much as we're becoming more advanced, the world is becoming smaller, and it's easier it's easier for the bad people, for lack of a better word. Like, it's easier for the bully. This is like a smorgasbord for the bully. I can attack you when you're at school. I can attack you in your home. I can attack... I have all the rights to attack you.
Yeah. We've put some serious enforcement on these tablets and some real rules, so they play together beside each other. Mm-hmm. The older one is always monitoring.
And I hear you too. I hear you checking in all the time.
Yeah, all the time. And they'll ask me, oh, so-and-so, my cousin's online, can I text them? No. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Or if, one is in one room and the other's in it's just, can I just text my sister? No, you're in the next room. There's no texting. You don't know the person behind this screen name is actually the person you think it is. And even if you know 100,000%, you still don't need to do it. So you can game and you guys can play your game, but the texting is zero and everything. I'm a firm believer about these things, and I want to instill this in them from now so that they can really understand the dangers that are lurking. That are there.
That's the best
right?
word. Lurking
Yeah.
around the corner.
They're so innocent.
Waiting.
You know, bless their hearts. They don't understand what the real world is like at times, you know, with these predators.
Now we sound like our parents.
It's because we are parents.
But that's what I mean. But I mean, like, you know, when they're like, you don't know about the real world. You're not living in the real world, you know? Now we know. Mm-hmm. Now we know. So,
you know, this was just a little snippet of you know, bringing some awareness to a really serious topic. Hug your little people and really check in all the time with them.
Yeah, I think this anti-bullying campaign should have never ended.
I don't think it ended.
Well, I don't know.
My kids still go through this at school. They still have to wear pink at certain days out of the month, and they have you were assemblies and things like that about bullying and, you know, the importance of not bullying and everything else.
Well, because back in the day, okay. Well, when Jalen was in high school, when he went to Aquinas, he was not allowed to bring his phone into the classroom. Like, there was a strict no phone policy. And I think they got rid of that because, of course, the educational system, you know, you have to have technology. It is a tool. Like, you can use it to look up things and vote and all kinds of stuff. So I think they got rid of that, but now you're saying they might bring that back.
It's not might. I think it was in September they passed it again. Okay. Or just a couple months ago.
Well, probably because of what happened, because I was saying Jalen fortunately did not have to go through that in high school.
It must have been, I think, September. I don't remember. It was recent, and they said no more. Like, it's zero. It's banned from the classroom. They're not allowed. I have not gone through that because my kids are still young. They haven't, you know, they're still in elementary school, but I do remember that being a big thing. And obviously when I read it, I was like, thank God, it should never have been allowed,
so like it was never allowed his whole high school career. So I didn't have that, I guess, that he didn't have that access to be bullied in that form. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And plus, like, yeah, he didn't have a social media account in high school.
Yeah, and my kids will ask me, can I get this type of account? No. It's a hard no. Yeah. Zero. You don't need Facebook. You don't need Instagram. You don't need none of that. You have the rest of your lives.
You need your textbook.
When you become of age, you can have every app you want. Right now, you're lucky I even let you game. That's how I see it. You know, you're limited with the gaming, and I want to know what you're playing.
Yeah, there was like, outside of that's a reward. Gaming is a reward for marks. Oh, you did good in school? Okay. Then. So. And it's a limit. You know, can't be a free-for-all all day, all night. No. I can't prevent Jalen now because he's an adult.
Well, and he's kind of proven himself that he's pretty responsible, so he's good. You know, it's the young ones that are not there yet to really, they don't have the maturity or the capability of understanding really what's out there.
It's also, you know? like I know we're going way off, but like it's also overstimulation. Like it's too much for your brain. You really do need to get your information from like a book, like other sources. You have to activate different parts of your brain in order for your brain to evolve. You can't just be gaming and living in a virtual reality.
Or watching let's not even talk about this.
Oh yeah, watching other people on YouTube play games.
Are like,
no, that's a big thing. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Watching other people play these games, and they can do it for hours, and I'm just like, how are you sitting here watching?
That's so boring.
Somebody else play, and some of these YouTube channels or
they're making millions of dollars. That's why.
Like, I can't. Anyway, that's definitely not my generation. In any case, we're going to wrap this up. Like, guys, just keep checking in with your kids. It doesn't matter how annoying you might seem or how, you want to be trustworthy or you want them to feel like you're trusting them. I don't business. Check in regularly and make sure you know what's happening. Make sure when they go to sleep, if you have to, grab that device and look at their history, or really be aware of who they're communicating with and who they're around and surrounding themselves with on a daily basis. It is absolutely important to keep those lines of communication.
And not only that, it's like, because make sure, you know what your children's friends are. Like, if maybe your children's friends are bullies, you don't know.
Yeah, well, you can only really, control what's happening within your own house. Start there, but keep those lines open because, it's a scary time for these little babies, man. It's a scary, scary time. So that's my rant for the day.
It's a harsh world out there.
Sure is. Guys, be safe. Love on your loved ones. And we'll see you guys next week.